Hi, everybody, and a new week has begun. Welcome to Devotions. I hope this is going to be a good week for you. There was once a writer called G.K. Chesterton. I'm sure many of you have heard of G.K. Chesterton. And he wrote a story called The Invisible Man. Now, G.K. Chesterton wrote detective stories, but the detective was not a policeman, he was a Roman Catholic priest. And his name is Father Brown. And this was one of the Father Brown stories called The Invisible Man. Well, there was a murder that was committed in a block of flats, and nobody could figure out who had committed this murder. So Father Brown went in and he began to investigate who were the people who were there every day, who came to these flats, what were they up to, etc., etc. And he questioned and he searched. And eventually one day he saw the postman coming down the steps from the upper stories. And he thought to himself, this man comes into this building every day and then leaves, same time, same man. And people get so used to seeing him that he becomes invisible. I think this is our culprit. And when they investigated further, they were able to prove that this man had committed the murder and he had carried the body out in his post bag. He was an invisible man, even though everybody saw him. Well, there was a story that Jesus told in Luke chapter 16. And I'd like to read it to you from verse 19, just the opening verses. There was once a rich man who dressed in the most expensive clothes and lived in great luxury every day. And there was also a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, who used to be brought to the rich man's door, hoping to eat the bits of food that fell from the rich man's table. Even the dogs would come and lick his sores. And every day the rich man walked past Lazarus, the poor beggar, at the gate, and eventually became invisible. And we know the story that the rich man eventually was accountable for not regarding the need of this poor man at his gate. There are invisible people in our lives. Every day, one way or another. The men and women who stand at the lights can be quite irritating, but they become almost invisible to us. Those who seek work, waiting on the pavements near the post office where we live in Hillcrest, every day they're there. And they just become part of the landscape. They become almost invisible to us. Car guards, do we look into their faces and see the person who is there? Even our domestic workers who work in our houses a day a week or maybe for more than that can become invisible to us. We don't know what they really are going through or who they really are. Sometimes people on the other end of the telephone, we can't see them, but yeah, they are invisible to us, but we don't regard them. And sometimes, if you're anything like me, you can be a bit rude and feel sorry about it afterwards. No one is invisible to Jesus. He sees to the depths of every heart. And we see that over and over again in his ministry. People who were marginalized, those who were caught in sin, those who were rejected by their fellow townspeople, those who were disabled, blind, those who were suffering from illness, those who were grieving, those who were anxious. Jesus stopped. He looked, he saw. And it's exactly the same for each one of us. He looks deep into our lives, and we are not invisible to him. Every single part of our lives, every need that we have, every joy that we have, he knows about it. He pays attention. He never slumbers or sleeps. And we pray that God would help us to make the invisible visible. We can't see the need of everybody. We can't know everything about everybody. But where we have the opportunity, look a bit deeper. Try to find out what's really going on in someone's life and see what God is calling us to do. So may the invisible become visible to us this week, and may we share the love of God and see more clearly by his grace. Have a good one. Bye for now.